Did you know that a single letter changed the course of women's rights? Or that space explosions create more gold than Earth could ever produce? Welcome to One Good Fact. Today you are sure to learn one good fact. In this mind-blowing video, we dive into 14 fascinating facts from history, science, space, and beyond. From the strange way Spartans voted to the map prank that fooled an entire state, these surprising truths will challenge what you thought you knew. Sometimes, history changes with just one vote. That's exactly what happened in 1920 when women's suffrage was hanging by a thread. Fact number 1. Harry Byrne and the deciding vote for women's suffrage. What if I told you that sometimes a single letter can change history? That's what happened when a mother's note convinced her son to cast a decisive vote for women's rights. In 1920, the United States was on the brink of ratifying the 19th Amendment, which would grant women the right to vote. A total of 36 states needed to approve the amendment for it to become law. By August of that year, 35 states had voted in favor, leaving one more state necessary for ratification. Tennessee became the critical battleground, but the state legislature was deadlocked over the decision. In the Tennessee House of Representatives, 24-year-old Harry T. Byrne, a young legislator who was believed to be an opponent of women's suffrage, shocked everyone by voting in favor of the amendment. His vote broke the deadlock, making the 19th Amendment law across the United States. Byrne later explained that he had been influenced by a letter from his mother, Feb Byrne, who urged him to be a good boy and help Mrs. Catt, referring to leading suffragist Carrie Chapman Catt. His vote ultimately secured voting rights for millions of American women. Would you ever go on strike just for the right to grow a mustache? Believe it or not, French waiters did exactly that in 1907. Fact number 2. The 1907 French waiters' mustache strike. At the turn of the 20th century, many employers required domestic workers and waiters to be clean-shaven, supposedly for hygienic reasons. However, many workers saw this as a deliberate attempt to control and demean those of lower social status, as facial hair was considered a sign of masculinity and prestige at the time. In 1907, French waiters went on strike, demanding better wages, improved working conditions, and the right to grow mustaches. The strike received widespread attention, and the waiters ultimately won their demand for facial hair rights. The victory symbolized not just a minor grooming issue, but a larger assertion of dignity and personal freedom in the workplace. It turns out that space is full of treasure, literally. When two neutron stars collide, they create enough gold to make 10 Earths. Fact number 3. Kilonovas and the universe's gold production. When two neutron stars collide, they create a spectacular explosion called a kilonova, which is 1,000 times more powerful than a regular nova. These collisions are extremely rare but responsible for producing most of the universe's heavy metals, including gold, platinum, and uranium. Each kilonova releases an immense amount of energy and creates between 10 to 100 Earth masses of gold, enriching space with precious metals that eventually become part of planets and asteroids. Without kilonovas, gold and other heavy elements would be exceedingly rare in the universe. If you thought the ocean was salty, wait until you hear about Don Juan Pond in Antarctica. It's so salty that even at minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit, it almost never freezes. Fact number 4. Don Juan Pond never freezing, the saltiest body of water on Earth. Located in Antarctica's McMurdo Dry Valleys, Don Juan Pond is the saltiest natural body of water on Earth. Unlike most other lakes in Antarctica, it rarely freezes, even in temperatures as low as minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit, or minus 50 degrees Celsius. The reason? Extreme salinity. The pond's water contains an astonishing concentration of salt, about 40% salt by weight. This prevents the water from freezing, much like how road salt melts ice. Scientists studied Don Juan Pond because its conditions are similar to what might exist on Mars, making it an exciting subject for astrobiology. Out of 350,000 known plant species, humans only rely on a tiny fraction. Just 170 species are cultivated on a large scale. Fact number 5. Humans cultivating limited plant species. The small fraction of edible plants humans rely on. Although there are about 350,000 known plant species, only 30,000 are considered edible. However, humans cultivate only around 170 species for widespread consumption. Even more astonishing, Just three crops, corn, wheat, and rice, account for around 60% of the world's plant-based calorie and protein intake. This heavy reliance on a few staple crops raises concerns about biodiversity and food security, especially in the face of climate change and evolving agricultural challenges. There's a stadium where every game is an international match. Why? Because its midfield line sits right on the equator. Fact number 6. Brazil's Zerão Stadium on the equator. Estadio Milton Correa, commonly called Zerão, meaning Big Zero, is a football stadium in Macapa, Brazil that has a unique feature. Its center line lies precisely on the equator. This means that when a game is played there, one team plays in the northern hemisphere and the other team plays in the southern hemisphere. It is one of the only stadiums in the world that straddles two hemispheres, making it a symbolic landmark in international sports. The Spartans were known for their toughness and simplicity, even in their elections. Instead of counting ballots, they used a much louder method. Fact number 7. Spartan elections were decided by shouting. The Spartans of ancient Greece had an unusual method for electing leaders. They didn't use ballots or votes, but instead settled elections through shouting contests. Candidates would walk one by one before an assembled crowd of Spartan citizens, and whoever received the loudest and most enthusiastic shouts was declared the winner. Officials, stationed out of view, judged the volume and intensity of the shouts to determine the people's choice. Saturn's rings might look gigantic, but if we shrank the planet to the size of a basketball, its rings would be thinner than a strand of hair. Fact number 8. Saturn's rings, wide but paper-thin. Saturn's rings are massive in diameter, spanning 280,000 kilometers or 175,000 miles across, about 3/4 the distance from Earth to the Moon. However, they are astonishingly thin. If Saturn were the size of a basketball, its rings would be only 1/250th the thickness of a human hair. This extreme thinness is due to the way the ring particles, made mostly of ice and rock, are spread out in a nearly flat disk. Changing your clocks might be bad for your heart. Studies show a spike in heart attacks right after daylight saving time begins. Fact number 9. Daylight saving time and heart attacks. A study in Michigan hospitals found that heart attacks increased by 24% on the Monday after daylight saving time, or DST, begins. While the exact cause is not fully understood, doctors speculate that the sudden loss of an hour of sleep disrupts the body's internal clock, leading to increased stress and cardiovascular strain. Other research has linked DST changes to higher risks of strokes, workplace injuries, and car accidents, suggesting that the disruption of sleep patterns may have wide-ranging health effects. A groundbreaking scientific theory that changed how we understand dinosaurs wasn't even proposed until the 1970s. Fact number 10. The asteroid impact theory of dinosaur extinction. The idea that an asteroid impact caused the extinction of the dinosaurs was first proposed in the 1970s by Luis and Walter Alvarez, a father-son scientist duo. They discovered a layer of iridium-rich sediment dating back 66 million years, which coincided with the mass extinction event. Iridium is rare on Earth but common in asteroids. This led to the Chicxulub crater hypothesis, suggesting a massive asteroid impact in what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula triggered catastrophic climate changes that wiped out the dinosaurs. A map is supposed to be a reliable guide, but in 1978, Michigan's official state map contained 2 fake cities, and the reason why is hilarious. Fact number 11. Michigan's fake cities of Goblu and Beatosu. In 1978, the Michigan Department of Transportation published an official state map that included 2 fictional towns in northern Ohio, Goblu and Beatosu. These names were actually inside jokes referencing the intense football rivalry between the University of Michigan and Ohio State University. Goblu stood for Go Blue, Michigan's team slogan, while Beatosu meant Beat OSU, Ohio State University. The prank was later discovered, and the fake towns were removed from future maps. You might brush your teeth every day, but did you know your mouth is home to more bacteria than there are humans on Earth? Fact number 12. Bacteria in your mouth versus Earth's population. Your mouth contains between 6 billion and 100 billion bacteria at any given time, which means that there are more bacteria in your mouth than there are people on Earth, currently about 8 billion. These bacteria form complex microbial communities influencing oral health, digestion, and even immune function. How did Venus end up spinning in the opposite direction of almost every other planet? Scientists believe it may have flipped over after a massive collision. Fact number 13. Venus spins backward compared to other planets. Most planets in the solar system rotate counterclockwise when viewed from above the North Pole, but Venus spins clockwise. Scientists believe Venus originally rotated like Earth, but a massive collision early in its history could have flipped the planet upside down, reversing its spin. Mile markers on the highway have a hidden history, one that goes all the way back to the Romans, who measured distances in 1,000 paces. Fact number 14. Origin of the mile from mille passus. The mile originally measured as 1,000 paces. The word mile comes from the Latin phrase mille passus, meaning 1,000 paces. In ancient Rome, a pace was roughly 5 feet, so 1,000 paces equaled about 5,000 feet. The modern mile is 5,280 feet, standardized over centuries. There you have it, 14 facts to be amazed about. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into some of the world's most fascinating hidden facts, don't forget to like this video to support more stories like this. Subscribe for more deep dives into incredible places around the world. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.